In this episode, we've got something very special for you. We're going to focus on someone else's boat. This is Wahini Toa, a Morgan 38 belonging to Cheryl Greathouse. Cheryl offers sailing and offshore cruising excursions to women sailors who are looking to gain valuable cruising experience and knowledge. We will tour her boat and then interview Cheryl about her excursions and how she supports women sailors. We're Charlie and Leanne, a couple from California who left our cushy suburban life to spend the next several years cruising around the Pacific Ocean on our boat, Juliet. And our little dog, too.
My name is Cheryl Greathouse, and we're sitting on my first boat ever, which her name is the Wahini Toa. I brought her from Oregon down here to Mexico. It's probably been a 20-year dream to live this lifestyle. Of course, 20 years ago, I had no idea that it would actually happen or how it would happen, but here we are. My boat is a 1980 Morgan 38. The previous owners had her from 1989 all the way to the time that I bought her in 2016.
That's great. One owner.
Yeah, I don't have anything to compare it to. I have no way to know my preferences. I just kind of jumped in and said, this feels comfortable. I feel like I can manage this. This feels like my boat. I was a woman sailor in the Army. In the Army, we have our own ocean-going watercraft, and I was a deckhand on these watercraft. And then it was a very male-dominated field. What that meant is whenever a boat was to go off on a cruise, if they didn't have a female to share a room with me and to fill all the bunks, I would get moved off and the men would go. So my opportunities were not flowing of getting to really step into what I was capable of and to do some of these bigger cruises, which of course, you know, one of the things you join the military for is to go see crazy places and do something, you know. There's an organization in Oregon called the Oregon Women's Sailing Association. That's where I started stepping into being a first mate and eventually like captaining just like a couple of smaller boats, right? They had a boat program. So I skippered those and took women on, and, you know, of course women had to do everything. And it was really empowering. It was really great. And it was really interesting to see their response to it. One person said, you know, I've only ever done racing, and it's do your job, and you don't really get to learn the other jobs. And then some women had experiences where men would coddle them, and here, I'll do that.
I've heard that a lot from other women sailors, especially women racers who, you know, the frequent complaint is we're just seen as rail meat, and they don't get to actually do the work.
Right. So, and I think it's important to understand that the opportunity that I am offering my boat for women to come in and step into what I like to call their sailing badassery has nothing to do with not liking men or not feeling like I can work with men, but it's really getting women in an opportunity where if it gets uncomfortable or inconvenient for us, there's no man to default to. What do you want to be able to do? And do you truly want to know how to run the boat if something, God forbid, happens to your partner?
Right.
So that's what this is really about, like giving women an opportunity to really step into their capability, their badassery, and not have anyone to default to.
So let's see this boat. We will start our tour up on the foredeck. So I'm a sloop rig, but yet I do have a baby stay that I can put in and use 2 head sails. Right now on my furler I have a head sail that's 110%, and what I've noticed is that I can't have my full main up and have it balanced with a 110% head sail, so oftentimes I leave my main reefed. To one point if I'm going to use it. If I'm running downwind, it's pretty okay to put the full main up. just got this new main and it's fully battened, which I'm really liking because it keeps the shape whenever there's just enough wind to go, and it keeps the shape a lot better. And then I upgraded to a stack pack. And here is my baby stay cable. And I have a pendulum that goes forward to that, and then I have running backstays that'll help balance the pressure on the mast. So whenever I am running a head sail, a baby stay, then I have my running backstays, which is exciting. So I also have a forward and an aft electrical outlet or inlet, which I like, so that if no matter which way I am in a slip, I have easy access. I don't have to have a super long cord. Then I have, of course, my windlass, which makes single-handed anchoring a lot better. It's a free fall windlass, which I like. I've seen some that don't have that option, and basically I use my winch handle to open it up and it free falls. The weight of the anchor, I have it pushed over enough to pull it down, and that really just makes it nice and easy. I have a Harkin furler for my head sail, which of course is becoming very standard on boats, and it's just fantastic to pull your head sail out or pull it in from the cockpit very easy. I have both a CQR and a Bruce anchor. I only ever use my CQR right now. That seems to work. People have been talking about the Mantis anchor or the Rockna anchors. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So right now I'm quite happy. These anchors have very likely gone all over the world with this boat. Ridden it in a softer bottom in 40 knot winds with my CQR, and it seemed to work just fine. So
now let's see what Wahini Toa looks like below deck.
This is my, as I call it, my one-butt galley, my one-butt galley. And because about pretty much only one butt can fit in here at a time. So it's not the best for storage. I mean, I've got storage back through here, and it's like my little apothecary of all my vitamins mixed with my dishes, and then things that in here, little area here, cabinet here. Luckily they all lock closed so that when we're underway, of course you got to be careful what you put in here. And this stuff actually stays pretty well. And then under here is more storage, pots, pans. And then I have this dry goods locker. And of course more dry goods underneath my settee, and refrigerator, and what they call a freezer, which doesn't really freeze, but that's okay. And a 2-burner stove. Force 10 is very popular, and it works well. And then my sink area. Back behind here is my engine. It's the best access to the engine compartment. My nav station. So usually, you know, people will take a quarter berth and put a cushion, and that's another place for someone to sleep. Not here. This is storage. When I got the boat, I had this big blue mesh pocketed thing that was really great. However, it really created a barrier between whoever was in the kitchen and whoever was sitting in the settee there. So I took that off and I mounted it to my bulkhead. I put 5200 wood blocks and then screwed it into the wood blocks. So now that is extra storage back there, which I really like because it's easier to get to. I have a water maker in this area. Again, need a shoehorn to do any kind of maintenance to it. That's okay. So moving more into the boat, underneath this cushion here, we have more dry goods storage. So cans and boxes, things that are not for right now. I even have little secret compartments, such as this for my favorite juice. So yeah, you know, just like little nooks and crannies everywhere. It was kind of like Christmas every 3 weeks on this boat when the first 3 years I owned it, because I'd like explore more and find more stuff packed in behind more stuff into little cubbies like this, for example. Looks just like a silverware drawer, but when you take it out, you have tons of filters for your water. And that was very clever. I mean, that's the thing with boats. They make you get real clever with where to put stuff. My water tank is under this cushion, which I really like it there. You monitor how much water is in. You can treat it. You can check the tank for cleanliness. I have a plastic tank. Some people have an aluminum tank. Or like chlorine and aluminum I hear is really bad. So the plastic tank is good. I like it. The water tastes pretty clean. I took my TV screen and I mounted it to a bracket. It's a little bit lower. I hardly ever watch TV, but when I do, I can just pull that right out and there's my TV. And then I can just put it away. And my plant, she has hung out there all the way from Oregon, so a few thousand miles, 2,000 plus miles, and just swings right beautifully right there. So I'm very happy to have a plant. Back up in Oregon, I did use my diesel heater. It siphons right off my diesel tank and it sips diesel. It's little diesel, goes a long way. However, the carbon that builds up around the injectors to send I believe it kind of got built up, and so not working as well as I'd like it, and I'm hoping to never need it again. And baskets, I love these baskets. Swinging baskets, another little way to take little things, and they just kind of gimbal themselves. And then back here is my head. If I were to put a curtain, then I could have a complete wet area and then keep the rest dry. Again, more kind of interesting storage. I can put things back here. My first aid kit is all shoved in here. It's a pretty hefty, and even this. And if I remove this bag out, there's another bag back there. I don't know if you can see. There's another bag back there that I can even put more things in. And then closet space for hanging clothes. And then the old v-berth, which is so much fun to make, to make your bed in here. So again, the previous owners had this really great system here. A nice big canvas bag to store clothing. And then all of this in packing cubes. These are full of all of my clothes and a few hanging things. Yeah, so it's got so much storage. It kind of doesn't seem like that when you come on board, but it's got tiny little things everywhere, like even in here. So some of the things that the previous owners did with this engine that I really like is they put a lift pump for easy oil changes. You do have to get into the back through this quarter berth to get to the oil filter and the fuel filter, but that's not a big deal. But everything is here is super easy. Oil dipstick, your header tank, so you can kind of keep an eye on your coolant, and then obviously for alternator belts, putting on new belt, and then your impeller. So all of these are really handy to be real close up front. I think the thing that is hard to get to relatively is going to be the sea strainer. So if those get clogged up, you got to pull everything out of that lazarette out there, and you have to jump down in there and get to this side of the engine in order to get your sea strainer. But I will take all of the conveniences of having a lift pump, and then also this valve here will empty out my header tank. I can see where there's water that goes into my bilge, so I can keep an eye on making sure that's clean. And this bilge pan also helps keep things clean by catching any oil or fuel, which on my way down I had a significant oil leak that I was babysitting and putting more oil in as it needed, and also a fuel leak, but luckily it all went into the pan and absorbent pads, which allowed me to dispose of it properly. So that was good. The other thing that I really like is that it has a fire suppression system. It's basically a fire extinguisher that's set up, and then there is a valve, a pull switch that's in this lazarette that all I have to do is open it and yank it, and it would suppress any fire in my engine compartment, which I like.
Sometimes the hardest part is knowing where to begin.
What's something that you would like to say to any women out there who are just interested in getting into sailing, starting out fresh?
So put yourself out there. They say the smaller boats make the sailors. You know, yeah, I mean, like go get on a Sunfish or a little Laser or one of the smaller ones and have fun. And then look for some organizations like the Oregon Women's Sailing Association. I guess the other thing I would say is invest in your fitness.
Yes.
Right, because you're pulling yourself around boats, yoga, whatever you can do to kind of strengthen your core, make sure that you're staying flexible, make sure that you're able to move around. Balance is always going to be helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
That's actually a really important thing for me. I was not as fit as I would have liked to be when we started our cruising life. Mm-hmm. And then since I started getting more fit, I now run about 5 miles a day. I do some stretching and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Just everything I do is so much easier. And I don't even think about it. In order to pull things out of my refrigerator, I've got to crouch down and I've got to reach in. And before getting down and then pulling myself back up, it was kind of a pain, and now I'm just bloop bloop. I don't even think about it.
Right.
So,
and that's when a boat's like flat.
Yes, exactly.
When you're listing,
different ball game.
Whole different ball game. Yeah. Absolutely. And just being healthier.
You will enjoy your life at sea so much more if you are finding your best level of fitness for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if a woman is interested in joining your crew for a journey, how does that happen?
So I'm on Facebook, Instagram as Cheryl with the C. Cheryl Sails Away. All levels of experience have been on the boat. And what I'm finding is that I would like women to have, if they're going to do an offshore, if they're going to do a longer passage with me, I want them to have some basic experience. To understand that it's not always fun. And it's not always comfortable. But so they can reach out to me that way to learn more and just kind of talk. Because we want to make sure it's a good fit. We want to make sure their personality, my personality, all goes hand in hand, and that we can work as a team together.
And how many women do you take at a time on the boat?
Generally just 2 others, 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
You got to be comfortable. Like where we're sitting now turns into a double bed. On the other side of the salon, I have a lee cloth, and you have to be able to be comfortable in tight quarters and sleeping side by side and with people maybe you don't know, and you have to put all that aside. And so
we hope you've enjoyed learning about this special boat and the adventures and learning experiences available on her. Be sure to reach out to Cheryl if you have any questions. In our next episode, we return to Bahia Falsa as we await the arrival of a part. Bubba is thrilled to rejoin our friends on Boundless, and he gets to go on hikes and run on the beach. But then, more bad news about our broken autopilot, and we have to watch our friends, who have to get to the mainland for a commitment, sail away for warmer climes. Will we get our autopilot working again? Will we catch up with Boundless? Will we ever get to the mainland? Keep coming back to find out. If you're enjoying our videos and want to support our channel, please consider becoming a patron. You can buy us a beer or a margarita or even a bottle of wine. You'll find us on Patreon at the website below. And don't forget to subscribe so you can keep up with us.